Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing another video. I just having kind of a hard time tonight, because I keep getting into these arguments with people about the virus stuff, and I'm probably going to take a break from even talking about it for a month after I get a bunch of videos done in the next week or two. I don't know if my communication is getting across with people. And it's just like I can't talk to people about it without this argument about things, and it just bothers me that people are called selfish and bad people if they have a certain opinion about things, and that's kind of like, you know, how this whole thing's become so politicized is really a horrible thing here too. So I guess I wanted to say that I'm just kind of going a little over the top with this whole thing, because I still have a lot of unanswered questions about what's going on, and that's kind of like why doing these videos, because I just don't know what else to do in this situation, because I don't know how else to get my point of view across with this. It's a very intense kind of thing that's going on with this, because I don't consider myself a bad person, but others may, for me having a different opinion than them. But it's what really bothers me still with this whole thing is that I don't know, if I believe in a conspiracy or anything per se, but it bothers me how much people are in this group think about it, that one way or the other they're in group think. So, you have on one side people are all convinced of a conspiracy and all convinced of that's all bullshit or whatever, and they go against the other side. They hate the other side, and the other side hates the other side and says they're selfish for not wanting to wear masks and want to kill grandma and all this stuff. And it's not really going to help in the long run to have these opinions about other people. So I'm caught in the middle, because I'm not voting for Joe Biden, and I'm not voting for Donald Trump either, but I don't agree with a mandatory mask law that Biden is proposing as far as a federal law, because, for one, I don't think, honestly, I don't know, but a lot of the people that I watch, doctors like from Oxford and other places, have said that this is going to be, this is petering out as far as the severity goes, and I don't know if I believe that or not, but indications are beginning to kind of come in that it is kind of dying down as far as the severity goes, and that could be a variety of reasons, as I said before. So by the time the election happens in November, I don't know if we're even going to need to be having this conversation, because it's like right now it's the contentious thing is this whole mask thing. What bothers me about the mask thing is that I don't feel like it's. I feel like it's. Why now? Not that it shouldn't be. Not. I understand why now, but why now, when compared to 10 years ago, or actually 11 years ago with the swine flu pandemic, and 1968 or 1957 flu pandemics. Why weren't people wearing masks back then if it was so deadly? And there's a lot of questions about how deadly this is going to be, or how deadly it is. But 130,000 people is a lot of people. But I'm going to go into some of that in my next video as far as some questions, unanswered questions. But let's say that if things were counted like they are today, back in 1968 or 1957 or even 2009, the deaths were counted like they are now with this pandemic. Let's say the numbers were maybe not comparable on the same level, but comparable to some extent. Are we going to retroactively say, oh, we should have wore masks back then, we should have done more, we were ignorant back then, we're horrible people? It's just, that's one thing that I question, because I don't know how we're going to come out of this as far as a society, because we're so contentious and so at each other's throats. I mean, I've been part of that because I'm kind of moderately skeptical about what's going on. And what bothers me about it is that people are acting like this is 9/11 again. It's 9/11 again. Anyways, my country's song about 9/11, but 9/11 again. So one of the things that bothers me is how there's like this us or them thinking with it that reminds me of 9/11. So, for example, back in 9/11, and I probably already said this in a video, but I'm going to say it more, in videos, because I can't reiterate this enough in videos, that the fact is that people are accusing the other side of being like evil or selfish or whatever. So, back in 9/11, the thought was you've got to be watchful for terrorists. They're all around you. They're all around. They're your neighbor. They could be anybody. They're the invisible enemy. And just a societal, let's just take away the conspiracy veneer of this talk that I'm saying. Let's just take push that away. The societal sociological premise is that from 9/11 is that people are the enemy. Anybody could be the enemy. You're either with us or you're against us. You're with the terrorists if you're not with the plan that's being put forward. And compare that to now. You're either with us or you're a denier, you're a selfish pig person, because you don't buy into all the government's pronouncements or ideas. So you're a denier. You're essentially an evil, selfish pig, probably a Trump supporter, if you question anything that the government is saying as far as what's going on with the virus. And I see so many parallels in these debates online. And I've said this before, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to hammer it to death, because it scares me. And it's not as simple as saying that, it's not as simple as saying, like, some of these people that are against masks in these southern states, there was this viral video about this, like, if it was a city county building meeting or something, all these people came up and, I'm not wearing a mask, blah, 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 A lot of those people were kind of ignorant, kind of, not the most intelligent people. But it's kind of the difference between, like, people that think 9/11 was caused by lasers from reptilians from, the Arcturus constellation, and people that think that there was, like, collusion with Saudi Arabia, like, with regards to covering it up, and Bush knew and all this stuff. There's a qualitative difference between those two ideas. And when a person, and this, James, I'm not a biggest fan of everything James Corbett says, but he did a really good video about fact checking, even though some of it was, kind of silly conspiracy stuff. But it was really good, because one of the part of that was really good of the video was that these fact checking websites will often strawman the conspiracy theories, because they'll talk about the worst and craziest ideas from the conspiracy theory viewpoint, and then say that that's what they're talking about when it's something entirely what they're talking about. And that really happened, it happens like Penn and Teller's bullshit show. When they talked about 9/11 Truth Movement, they talked about the craziest people, most shocking people of all. And that's really, just the craziest, almost outlandish stuff. Whereas, if you really look into the conspiracy culture movement as far as the people that have credible ideas, even Richard Clark, Richard Clark was the national security advisor under Clinton and Bush W for a while during 9/11. And the fact that he's come forward and been kind of a whistleblower as far as some of the 9/11 stuff, nobody talks about that. I mean, but, when you talk about 9/11 truth, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. So, I mean, he could be, disinfo agent or whatever. It could be, or he could be full of shit. You never know. People have a lot of different motivations or their mental habits or disorders. But the fact of the matter is that if you're questioning anything that's going on with the virus, where the numbers, the news, how it has handled it, or how the CDC or WHO has handled it, or statements they've said, you're immediately just, you're not trusting the experts, you're crazy, or you're selfish, or you're Trump-tard, or whatever. And it's like, it's the same us versus them thinking, groupthink that even if it, let's say everything's true, okay? Let's do a thought experiment here. Let's say the virus is just as bad as they say, which it is bad for a lot of people. Let's say all these things, the death count thing, I'm not going to go into that too much. Well, I'll go a little bit in this video, but the death count thing is just like something they had to do because blah, 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 this and that, and yeah, it's a good question why they weren't counting people with pre-existing conditions dying from swine flu in 2009 as dying from swine flu and not dying from their other conditions. Oh, it's a good question. Maybe we should have done that, blah, blah, blah. The fact that, let's say that they said all that stuff as a thought experiment. Let's say they explain things better. They started coming out and saying, this is why we did this, and we all accept it as some rational thing from the medical experts, and it is a rational thing. Let's say it is. And even with that, the fact that there's this groupthink and this mentality that you're a evil person for questioning these things is troublesome, and it's very just it's not good. And I don't want to live in a society that you can't question things in, regardless of why you question things, regardless of how you're questioning things. Not questioning things, to me, is authoritarianism personified. So, and this has been authoritarianism, I hate to say it, but more, and I think people should try to break out of the left-right paradigm, but this is more from the left than anything in this case. I mean, the medical establishment is more on the left, of course. And this creeping authoritarian groupthink with regards to this, and that doesn't mean that I don't think masks work or something. I'm not going to wear a mask. I refuse to wear a mask. I'm not going to wear this virus at all to get Trump not reelected. That's fucking foolish. But questioning things with regards to the whole thing, to me, is essential in a free society. You have to question things, and some people on the left are finally coming around to this point of view, I've noticed in the last 2 weeks. So this is going to sound really crazy. So I wrote this article about the death counts of the virus, and I actually tweeted it to Kyle Kulinski and Jimmy Dore. And I don't think that they necessarily read it or even, paid attention to it. I don't even care, really. The irony was, I think they were already the gears were already going with some of their stuff the last couple of weeks. I didn't even need to send it because coincidentally they were starting to think. I'll give you an example. So Jimmy Dore and Kyle Kalinske came out with a video where they talked about how Fauci essentially lied. It's sort of an evasive sort of lie about masks. And both of them said, well, Jimmy Dore was a little more skeptical. I think Kyle just wants his like rational TYT audience to stay with him, and I don't think he's consciously doing this, by the way. I don't think it's not necessarily a big deal that he's doing this. I'm not saying that he's a little softer on the conspiracy stuff, because he's secular talk. He's a skeptic, But Jimmy Dore is a little bit more on that side of this conspiracy stuff. So they're kind of on this fringes of questioning things enough. For me, they question things enough now. They're starting to, at least, about what's going on, what we're being told. We might be being told stuff that's, we might be lied in the opposite direction. I was having a debate with someone on YouTube about how they think, people are lying, people are undercounting the deaths, like the CDC or something. I don't know. So we could be living in, it's like a Twilight Zone, fucking The Prisoner, Twilight Zone meets fucking Truman Show kind of crazy bullshit that we're living in right now. It's just insane. Black Mirror, all these shows. It's insane. So that's kind of what I'm saying about. But anyways, back to Kalinske and Jimmy Dore. So Kalinske did a video where he shared that video of the people at the city hall meeting or whatever, where they were saying why they won't wear a mask, or giving their proclamations about that. And he obviously thought, yeah, they're kind of dumb, some of them, but at the same time, he said, well, and this is a point that I made on Facebook like 2 months ago when I wrote this huge rant. Everybody liked it, even really like hardcore, die-hard fucking like spray disinfectant on everything and wear a mask when you're driving your car kind of people liked this rant, because I guess that was the way I worded it. I'll probably like actually, I might even do it on a YouTube video and just give it. It'll be one of my videos that I do in the next couple of weeks, and then I'm taking a break from current events for a month, anyways. So the whole thing was basically the premise is that we've been lied to so long by our government that you can't really expect people to, especially with the Fauci like backtrack on masks. When you see that, and when you look back on weapons of mass destruction, government lies, big pharma, and the medical system in America in the first place. Now, some people don't want Medicare for all, and that's their idea. But they would probably agree that our medical system is very corrupt as far as profit motive, even if they don't want that. So that's one thing that that's what Kyle Kalinske was kind of saying, that how can we trust, if we can't trust the government about all this other stuff, how are we going to trust them with all this stuff, especially when it's contradictory information? He was kind of getting at that. It was a very light, again, I'm not complaining because I know that he has to. I mean, YouTube is censoring people and stuff left and right for various things here and there. Not left and right. They do sometimes censor people, or put stuff on that flag videos for whatever reason. They have excuses for that. Most of the channels I watch, they don't get flagged that much, but they have been known to flag certain videos at times. So obviously Kyle's trying to be careful too in that area, I think. But I think secretly, like he said, he was split on what he thought of these people, which I would never think he was. He was in the hot spot. Okay, he lives in New York State, so I was quite surprised that he was actually questioning some of this stuff. But Jimmy Dore did an even more cynical video about this stuff with Fauci and the mask stuff, and that kind of, I mean, I know he's cynical about Russiagate too, so it's kind of an interesting thing that correlate those two things, and the establishment Democrats and all that. And I think Kyle is less skeptical about Russiagate, but even he's doing stuff about now about Rachel Maddow talking about Russiagate over and over again. It never ends. Like it's a stupid issue, you know, to obsess about. And, you know, that's one of the things that, I mean, the establishment left. You know, I mean, I hate to say it, but like somewhat of the authoritarian left now. Establishment, authoritarian, neoliberal. Neoliberal is an economic thing, but if you don't know what it is, look it up. Left is all on board with this thing, and it's all groupthink, and it's all, you know, uniformity. That scares me. Regardless if it's all true, all the bad shit about the virus. If it's all bad, I mean, all the stuff that's true, or all the bad stuff is true. If it's just as bad or worse than they say, then, you know, even with all that, it scares me when people are in lockstep. Nobody should all be in lockstep. No one. It's a scary thought. I've been attacked. You know, I've been attacked on, you know, various social media sites and stuff for my opinions. My rants that I did, for some reason I wrote it in a way that people were laudatory towards it. So, I mean, I guess, you know, I have some skill on persuasion in that way, but, you know, at least in that rant, that very long rant. But it's just very scary right now, because I see people acting like this is 9/11, as far as like, you're with us or against us. If you have a different opinion, or you think this is going to happen with the virus, you're full of shit or whatever. Even as me and certain friends of mine have been vindicated by a lot of the predictions that we've had, because we watched, you know, we don't watch InfoWars or fucking like you know, I'm not just gonna say David Syke, in case they flag my video. David Syke, the reptilian guy. But we don't follow his stuff. But there's these other people, you know, German scientists, even people from Oxford and like Stanford and stuff have said different things than, you know, what is the uniform opinion necessarily. But as that happens, I'm going to go into this in my epic video on this. I've been calling it an epic video because I have a thumbnail. I'm going to probably edit it more than this whole thing is going to be edited. Where was I? Even as these people say this stuff and then they're shot down by these articles. And I'll talk about. I'm going to probably repeat some of the stuff in this video again, and I don't care, because this needs to be talked about. We need to talk about this shit. I don't care. You know, if we talk about this, is better than not. Fact of the matter is, there was a lot of criticism about the Stanford serological studies, and then there was like, I don't know if it was Vox or one of those blogs like BuzzFeed. Oh my god. One of those blog sites actually had, well, the JetBlue guy gave money to Stanford, so it's all corrupt. All these studies are corrupt. Never mind. A month or two later, guess what happens? CDC comes out. You know, I think even Fauci acknowledged this too, or maybe Birx. I don't see Birx that much. I don't know why, but lately. But you know, I used to watch those press conferences every day. What a waste of fucking time watching that shit. But anyways, one of them you know, they I don't know if they backed it up or not. I believe they might have, but I'm not sure completely. But the CDC backs it up anyways, and the World Health Organization, more than likely too. They were saying that the mortality rate's way lower. The number of asymptomatic is like 10 times higher than they once thought. And now the CDC is saying that over and over again. It's like, just a few short months ago, we were crazy. I mean, I think there were a few videos that got flagged for it on YouTube for talking about this stuff. I don't know the exact story about all that, but there are people who call it, oh, no, it's not true. It doesn't matter. You know, that's the problem I have. And I'm going to be repeating myself with my next video because I don't care. Because we got to get the message out. I got to get this message out there because I want to know what the fuck is happening. Because personal thing with this is that my life was majorly impacted by this. I didn't lose my job, but I lost a lot of other stuff I was doing, honestly. So it is a selfish motivation, but at the same time, I question stuff all the time. I questioned, ever since I saw the movie JFK from Oliver Stone, even though that's probably very inaccurate as to what really happened with a conspiracy and all that, it made me question things from day one. I questioned Iraq War I when it was happening, because I was told, I grew up in a very, dissident left household, so they were always saying, oh, this is because of this, it's oil, blah, 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 military-industrial complex, all this shit. So I question things. That's just the way I go, If you don't like it, I could just trust the government all the time. Oh, yes, the government, the corporations are great. Wired magazine, I have a subscription to Wired magazine. It's fucking big tech propaganda. I don't know why I like some of the features, but it is big tech propaganda. There's no big tech propaganda, in case you didn't hear me. So, it's like, I question stuff, and people don't want to question things. That's not my problem, but I think a lot of people were proven right, early on, that we're not having the more sensationalist / hysterical projections of this whole thing. It was a little more towards the middle so far, but it's not nearly as towards the middle. I mean, even fucking Andrew Cuomo came out. Say what you will about him, okay? I'm neutral as far as I don't know about all the stuff that he's been accused of. I might research more of that, but in this case, I'm neutral, not about what he did with nursing homes, allegedly, and all that. I'm not neutral about that, but as far as his proclamations, he actually was one of rare public figures that actually came out and said, oh, we're studying this, or we're finding out this about number of asymptomatic cases. Oh, he actually literally said, this is not as bad as we once thought. The fact that he would say something like that is, for some of the people that are coming out, was it Garcetti or Newsom or whatever, said, we're going to lock down forever until, well, he didn't say that, but, it just basically acted like, we're going to lock down until there's a vaccine, some of the people, Andrew Cuomo was fucking reasonable about some of this stuff. I'm just saying, I don't know about the nursing home shit. There could be more to that story than we know, or than I've read, as far as the right-wing press goes with that, but, he's actually been surprisingly decent for saying some of these proclamations. But the fact of the matter is, there were people that were right all along, that were saying stuff 2 or 3 months ago. They're being proven right. And those people are not the people saying that, this is going to be Spanish flu part 2, or, oh my God, we're all going to die, we need a lockdown for 18 months, all this stuff. They're not those people. I think it's Emmanuel, what's his name? One of the guys that was in the Obama administration was saying this, oh, we're going to need to do this for all this time. The worst case scenario. Neil Ferguson, people like that. They've been proven wrong. I mean, he retired, or resigned. Sorry. He resigned. So, I mean, if anybody thinks I was having a discussion on Facebook a few minutes ago, a few minutes before I made this video, and he's like, I trust the medical experts, blah, blah, blah. I trust, I don't care, I trust them. It's like singular thinking about trusting everything. It's like if you had a discussion with someone 19 years ago about, what the military is doing or what Bush is doing, it's like, it sounds eerily similar to that. I'm sorry, I don't think the medical establishment is as bad as the military-industrial complex. I don't have as bad intentions, but it's like, I trust Bush. I trust our president for, what he's doing against terrorism. I trust the experts. Trust the experts. Okay, we're going to trust the experts. Colin Powell coming out about, the WMDs are going to be, trust the fucking experts. Go ahead, They don't have any interests, political or financial or otherwise. I don't even think it's a matter of that, though. I think with this, it's this bureaucratic thing with regards to how things are aligned in our system. It's more the system. It's like Noam Chomsky would talk about with the media. He doesn't say that necessarily it's a bunch of, like I said in a previous video, it's not a bunch of guys in a smoke-filled room, like the cigarette smoking man. Like I said that today in a video. It's planning this conspiracy. It's just a way that things kind of lined up. That these different interests are pursuing these other interests, or these different special interests are pursuing their goals and end games, and then it just kind of becomes this thing that spirals out of control, and it becomes a conspiracy, but it's not really a conspiracy because it's more just the way things aligned in this situation. And of course, there's people that are in it for their own gain, and there's some people that are just bureaucrats that are following the systemic corruption. There's systemic failures and bureaucracy. It's like when people talk about racism. Okay, so I'm not going to go into that whole debate right now, but when we talk about racism, sometimes it's not racism like Policeman Fred is a racist, he's like part of the Ku Klux Klan. It's more this tunnel vision, that this attitude, this cultural thing in their head that they're implanted, because things went a certain way in society and everything, that they're racist, quote unquote, but they're not really conscious of it. So I don't think all conspiracies are these conscious constructions, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm going to go more into this probably far in the future, like a month or two from now, as far as this kind of theory about conspiracy theories. So that's not necessarily the case even in this situation. But yeah, the groupthink bothers me. And, another thing that bothers me is that where I live, I feel, sometimes I feel guilty because I talk to these people online, and they're like, oh yeah, I haven't seen my friends I only see my friends every 3 or 4 weeks. I'm like, shit, I hang out with a group of people every week. And one of them's actually in their upper 60s. I'm like, oh shit, am I a fucking murderer? Potentially. See, that's the problem. The shaming culture, it's gotten so bad that we're shaming people for doing normal things because we're in this pandemic. And it's like, if she doesn't get sick, and if nobody else gets sick that has pre-existing conditions that I know, because I know a few people that probably have little things. It's not that bad. None of these people that I hang out with are that. I don't hang around with any diabetics currently. Like a few of my friends are diabetic and stuff. I haven't seen them for months. It's not like that. But there are people that I'm hanging out with that are older sometimes, like who I game with, and I don't know if it's a matter. We've only had 32 deaths in this county where I live, which is 500,000 people, since the whole thing started, allegedly. There might have been more deaths before that they didn't count, but should I feel guilty for hanging out with these friends, and not wearing a mask and outside role playing? Should I, feel guilty for hanging out with friends in general and going downtown and walking around? I just wonder where people's their fucking tunnel vision about this whole thing. They're so adamantly on their side about this. It's like it's all or nothing for these people. And the fact of the matter is, surprisingly, it's not. Because you talk to people, they might say something, they might be on one side or the other, but hell, they're not. They're the hell that they are. Because I said before, even Fauci was talking about a couple months ago about Tinder dating and stuff. Like, did he approve of it? Well, and actually, I kind of respected him for answering that question the way that he did. I can't remember exactly he did. He wasn't like as bad as you would expect a public health official who is in that position would be with that. And that was kind of surprising. He wasn't like, they've got to wear a mask and be 6 feet apart. If you don't have a 6-foot dick, you can't have sex during the pandemic. It's like, no, he didn't say anything. He said he would say something like that, but he didn't say anything close. It just, I think he comes from the HIV thing. He's a little less about shaming people as far as his whole thing goes. Now, I don't I don't know what's going on with the guy, and I don't know what's going on with people in government with this whole thing. Like I said, there's some fearfully authoritarian kind of stuff going on. Maybe he's like the Colin Powell because he's a little bit better of this. No, I mean if this is a conspiracy or psyop or whatever the fuck, he's like the Colin Powell because he's a little bit better and a little bit nicer about it and stuff. I'm just being weird. Works even more, of course, because she said some stuff about the CDC count, overcounting some, which is that's why I don't like these people that say I don't question the medical profession. It's like I was just having this conversation with this guy. It's like there's all this drama and conflict already going on with Birx and the CDC and all this shit and Fauci and fucking, all this stuff's already happening. I mean, how can you trust this bureaucracy that can't even get their shit straight with each other? I mean, I trust my doctor and the medical professionals, what they tell me. So, like, masks, yeah, they work. Of course. The whole mask thing, it's been over fucking exaggerated as far as, like, this divide that people have. But you're not gonna get people to wear masks all the time, 24 hours a day if they go outside. That's just, especially here. I mean, they don't. I go downtown every day. I drive downtown, and sometimes I'll go to get some coffee or whatever, like at a drive-through. But it's like people aren't wearing them outside. They don't have fucking concentric circles at what is that park? Is that James Madison Park? Okay, I doxed myself just now. I live in Madison, Wisconsin. I doxed myself. Okay, I did dox myself. So people here, they're not doing that shit, that I know of. I mean, I see birthday parties and shit for kids being still had. But what do you draw the line? So if a place like Wyoming, like I said, if a place like Wyoming, they have one case in some fucking bumfuck town that's far away from most of the other metropolitan areas, and they have had like 5 deaths within 6 months, are you gonna say mandatory masks for everybody? You have to social distance in Wyoming, Or are you gonna say, I mean, I think I answered my own question, but something like Joe Biden having a mandatory mask thing, I don't see that it would be productive in this situation. And say that I'm a selfish, grandma killer, evil fuck, Trump tard. Never voted for Trump in my life, I would never vote for Trump. That's fine. You could say what I want. I'm a shameful person. I guess maybe I'm too offended by what people say or do, and I have too much empathy, I think, maybe, for people. I think that's what it is. Some people don't have as much empathy, but, that's part of the thing. So, I'm going to conclude this pretty soon. I mean, this is a really fucking long video. And we've gotten some new software recently, so just doing a shit ton of videos, as I said. To conclude, I think there's a spectrum with regards to the guidelines. And this is a little bit different. There's a spectrum. People are not going to talk about the spectrum, but there's a spectrum. Because people are so polarized. I wear masks, and I'm 6 feet apart with all my friends. I only meet them for 5 minutes a week until the pandemic's over. Or like, my God, I'm not meeting anybody till this is over. We can talk on Zoom for 2 years and get tested 10 times and wear masks while having sex. But I'm not meeting anybody until that happens, until there's a vaccine and Bill Gates puts his nanobots on my butt. Oh my God. No, of course I'm exaggerating. But nanobots, it's not nanobots, by the way. It's I forgot what it was. You can look it up. It's not that hard to find. You can actually find it. It's another one of those things where they straw man the conspiracy theory. But then, the sad thing about this conspiracy theory thing is that people popularize the worst parts of it, and then they make everybody else look stupid. But anyways, that's another subject for another video. So there's people like that. And there's people like, well, I'm going to meet with friends on an individual level or 2 or 3 people, but I'm going to avoid big crowds. I'm not going to wear a mask when I'm with friends. I'm not going to do a stupid elbow fucking bump thing or whatever the fuck they're talking about. We're going to elbow bump. That's my friends are an elbow bump. Fucking stupid. So, I mean, it's so stupid. But, I mean, you got the absurdity of some of this shit. It's not that it's like, I know sometimes, maybe in a hot spot, maybe it's necessary to elbow bump your fucking friend. I don't know. Or maybe not. It's so stupid. I think last I checked, less than 3,000 people died under the age of 45 from this shit. So it's like, I don't know. But you gotta protect grandma, blah, blah, blah. Well, did I protect grandma when I went to Walgreens when I had the flu? There was some old lady right there, when I sneezed or whatever. Maybe she had some fucking condition that she could have died from that shit. I'm not comparing it to the flu, but it's just like, where do you draw the line? Should we... It's just so much confusion and so much fucking nonsense from this thing. It's a clusterfuck. And anyways, back to that spectrum. I'm blabbing a little too much. The spectrum, then you have people that are disinfect, on one side they'll disinfect everything. Some will disinfect just their shoes. Some people will probably not disinfect anything, but like wear a mask everywhere. Some people will probably wear a mask inside places and then meet with their friends normally, unless they, someone's sick, and then check what's going on with the county, and then, if things do get bad, that they will shelter in place, but otherwise they'll try to live their life normally. That's me. They'll wear a mask if they're required to and shit. I mean, I'm not going to complain about wearing a mask, but I think it looks stupid. It looks fucking dumb. I mean, it does. Your face is supposed to be expressive, so it looks weird. But of course, I know it's supposedly necessary. So, but there's a spectrum, like I said. And there's people that are just like anti-mask, fucking anti-lockdown, anti-social distancing on the other side too. And I'm sort of in the middle. But people don't want to talk about the spectrum with this. They'll just say they're on this side or that side. But the way what they practice in real life, including people I know, is kind of different, than what they're saying. The people that are online dating, during the lockdown, they might have said, I'm not meeting anybody until it's over, and then they changed their profile. I know this one girl that did that. She said, I'm not meeting anybody until it's over. Then I saw her profile again. Didn't have it anymore. It's like, where do you draw the line on this shit? It's like, that's what's confusing me, and that's what's disturbing me. It's like, I don't want to be seen as some kind of evil fucking person, but at the same time, I've been kind of, in the past, for some of my interests and stuff, I've already experienced this kind of thing. Take the whole like self-improvement. You can look up the videos, where I talk about certain scenes and stuff that I've been into. There was endless blogs about how it's evil and sexist and all this stuff. If you're even expressing interest in trying to like learn how to be better with women and want to do all this stuff. I mean, maybe I'm going a little too far, but any of these people that they taught that stuff, they're so evil, to be sexist. It's rape culture because they talk about how you're a little bit sort of more assertive than usual. Even though, I mean, there's some weirdos in that culture, subculture too, who do border on that, but it's not like the hard and fast rule. So, I already have experience of being an edgelord already. So, I mean, it's nothing new, I've been an edgelord since 1978, motherfucker, I mean, shit. So what are we gonna do? So we're gonna fucking accuse other people of being selfish, Trump-tard, grandma killers, when there's a spectrum of people that do different things in this crisis. There's people that won't meet anybody probably until there's a vaccine. They're just hiding in their houses. Actually, I know someone that is part of a forum that he said there actually are literally people that are doing that. I'm like, okay, he's not doing that. And this person, you know, there's this person that made me in their house clean my phone, even though I'd been in the house 4 or 5 days, and it's like, it was so dumb. But now he's hanging out with friends and shit. I have a friend that was giving him shit about giving people shit about going to bars when Wisconsin opened. And he's going to the gym. He's like, I don't wear a mask at the gym. Like, well, there's hardly any people there anyways. It's like, okay, there's a spectrum in this shit. There's a spectrum of what people accept and what people do. And nobody can fucking say shit, you know, with a protesting thing, with the non-social distancing, the Floyd funerals, the fucking, you know, it's just, it's all chaotic. Who's gonna shame who today? You know, we're gonna shame this person for going to the beach with a bunch of people. You know, it's just like fucking, it's not gonna do anything. You're not gonna fucking win. You know, these people that are doing this stuff. I mean, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna convince someone. You're just gonna fucking push them further away from doing what they supposedly need to do. Because it's not gonna help. It's not gonna help. It's not helping. You know, supposedly, even though the death rate's going down. And I did see something, and I'm gonna try to check this graph, but I did see a graph that said the hospitalizations have gone down too. I'm not totally certain about that. I'm gonna be looking into that. I mean, obviously the hospitalizations in certain areas are going up supposedly, but I mean they are. But you know, as far as aggregate hospitalizations across America, they might be going down steadily, but certain areas are getting worse. So that's pretty much all I got to say. I know this is fucking almost an hour long, or 45 minutes long at least, and you know, I'm doing these kind of as a way to get my anger out about this whole thing, because I felt pretty angry. I feel really weird because like I'm conflicted about this too. You know, I'm more of a moderate in regards to this. I'm more in the middle because I'm neither at the like anti-lockdown Trump whatever. I mean, why even associate those two things together? But that's just the way the media and people are doing it. So I'm neither at that side or the other side. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm like, well, you know, I can see how masks can help spread, you know, the spread of virus. And the virus is pretty bad for this certain type of people. We should protect them, blah, blah, blah. At the same time, it's like, well, why are they counting deaths this way? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? Why do they say this? Why are they contradicting themselves? So it's like, I'm sort of in the middle. And this is a time that you're not supposed to be a moderate about this, because you're either one or the other. So groupthink is bullshit. Regardless of whether or not there's a conspiracy about this, I would recommend that Charles Eisenstein essay about this whole thing, because, and I suggested it in a previous video. I might even post another link to it, but it was very good. And I still think that he had the right answers about, you know, these questions he's bringing up. He's a philosopher, so it's not even from a political or conspiracy point of view. But yeah, answering questions is fine. I fucking question everything. You know, I question everything. I question things in my job. You know, if they're telling me bullshit, or if there's a manager, there's a bitch, you know, who's fucking mean to people, I'm gonna fucking question it. You know, I mean, I had that happen because there was a manager that we had that was just fucking brutal to people, and I tattled on her and she got fired. But you know, it was kind of fucked up. You know, I felt kind of bad, but you know, it's like I question things. I will question things. I will question things. I don't give a fuck. That makes me an edgelord or fucking skeptical, you know, fucking conspiracy theorist. That's fine. Whatever. I question things. And I think you should too. You know, people that are watching this video, you should question everything. Don't question what, I mean, not don't, but question what you read, question what you see, question what you hear. I mean, there's always someone with an agenda, even if they don't realize they have an agenda, or if they're serving someone else's agenda, or just useful idiots, you know. But people have an agenda, and that, you know, people with with regards to the virus, they, you know, it might not be an agenda. It might be more innocent than I think. You know, with some of these contradictions and stuff. Maybe it is. Maybe there's nothing to it. Like, oh well, they did this because, you know, I'm blathering about this, but maybe they did this because this happened and this influenced this new way of counting the deaths and doing this type of aggregate totals because of this. You know, maybe it's more innocent. I don't know. But I question shit mainly because people are so fucking in lockstep. When people are in lockstep, I get scared because, you know, you gotta admit, you know, I've read every dystopian novel and I've read Noam Chomsky since I was like fucking, you know, well, I was an adult. I was like 19, but, you know, I've read him for quite a while. And, you know, I've questioned things. I used to watch CNN and Crossfire when I was like 10 and shit. You know, I saw all that shit. You know, I was keeping informed, you know, even when I was a little kid about all this stuff that was going on. You know, and people around me question things, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. Why are they saying this? And when they do this, or when they do this, or when they're saying this, you know. So that's why I question things. And people may not like it, you know, sometimes. Maybe I go a little too far, you know. But I think it keeps a society healthy to, you know, be on your toes about certain things and, you know, being skeptical and being questioning, because otherwise, you know, there's people that will take advantage of the situation and say what you will. And that's why I question things even with the virus. I mean, it's not only just my selfish not really being comfortable wearing a mask but doing it anyways because it's fucking hard to breathe, because I have like some septum stuff that is, my dentist said that I have some septum like blockage kind of stuff that makes it hard for me to breathe. So wearing a mask is fucking challenging for me because it's fucking pain in the ass. And I go, ooh, you know, I got a They Live mask coming in the mail. It's gonna be pretty cool. Anyways, so that's about all. This is not the epic video that I promised. This is just another rant video, but the next couple of days I'll be working on that video because it's going to be the ultimate 5 unanswered questions about, you know, the virus. And I will be calling the virus by its suitable name because I just, you know, I've kind of had it. You know, maybe I'll go on BitChute if it gets fucking flagged or something. I don't think it's going to be flagged. I mean, it's all factual stuff I'm going to post. It's all just unanswered questions. And what, you know, honestly, what did inspire my unanswered questions, that whole term, that whole phraseology, was the 9/11 thing. Because there was a website called Unanswered Questions. And then they had the 9/11 timeline, which is a great book, by the way. If you want to, you know, if you want something that will, maybe it won't convince you of becoming a 9/11 truther, but it'll make you question a lot of what happened. Not from like, it was Mossad and fucking, you know, Dick Cheney was like, had remote control drones with Mossad set up in the towers or some crazy, or the laser came from, you know, the asteroid belt or some shit. It's not like that, but it's just like all these different events and foreign policy things, economic things that were like, wow, this is weird shit. You know, all these mainstream articles, it's actually mostly mainstream articles that are compiled in this book called the 9/11 Timeline. And it does make you question things. So, I mean, it's fine. I'm fine. I accept myself for questioning things. I think I'm a good person for questioning things. And I think I'm fine, a good person, acceptable person for not following the guidelines, because most people in this fucking town are not. And most people aren't in general, in one way or the other. That's why you have all these hypocritical mayors and governors doing these things during lockdown or whatever. That because people aren't going to follow shit to the T. It's just not going to happen. So that's why I think that the mandatory mask thing is problematic, because how are you going to force that shit, you know? And in what way? But my prayer, you know, or ritual or manifestation or whatever you want to call it. By the way, I'm doing more manifestation videos too. Very soon. One of my next ones is about how to manifest a girlfriend. But it's going to be a very good video because I have a lot of ideas about that. And I've done it before. I was just going to say that. I've done it before numerous times. So maybe you could say whatever. You know, people that, on another note, you know, people can be skeptical about whatever the fuck they want. I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to be, you know, get into what makes me happy. So people that are against the manifestation stuff or new age shit, you know, it's like, whatever, fuck you, you know. Go live your, like, I'm an atheist skeptic. I don't believe in anything. That doesn't happen. Science. That's all I gotta say. But I'm just in a pissed off mood, so I had to fucking say that. Fuck you, you know. I'll believe in what I want. I could use whatever I want. It reminds me of this Glenn Danzig interview, even though, you know, I've bashed Glenn Danzig on this channel, but mainly for his latter-day career moves and musical or production choices, for the most part. That's pretty much what it is. He said something like, "Oh, light, dark. I'll just use whatever is useful." You know, and that's what I do. You know, it's like I'll use what is useful to me as far as new age stuff or whatever. Or even the Bible. You know, I mean, I'm gonna get into Neville Goddard, who's in the Bible. I don't give a fuck. You know, I have the Satanic Bible on my bookshelf, and I have the Bible on my bookshelf. I would hang out with Anton LaVey, but I also like stuff from the Bible, you know, and shit, and Christianity and shit. Neville Goddard, whatever. So that's about all. I'm going to probably be doing 10 to 15 more videos in July, and then I'm going to be doing those pretty fast, like in the next week. And I'm going to probably be taking a break, but I'm going to stagger the videos out, so it'll cover about the month when I'm gone. And because I'm going to take a break from current events for a month, a media fast, whatever. So that's all I got to say. Please subscribe. You know, you can downvote this video. You can, you know, print out a still of me and wipe your ass with it if you think of this terrible fucking skeptical grandma killer asshole Covidiot. I'm gonna say it. I'm just gonna fucking say the word. You know, asshole, evil fucking edgelord. Alt-right, yeah. Bernie sticker on my car. I'm really alt-right. All this fucking shit. But, you know, you can do what you want with my opinions, but you can shove it up your ass if you fucking don't believe in questioning people, or questioning institutions, or questioning governments, or corporations. You can fucking shove it up your ass. That's all I gotta say.